Yes, your majesty.
理解してねえようだな。超低温で空気は凍ってんだぜ。覚悟はできてるんだろうな、ミスター。
If you look at any Kassadin players between Diamond and Challenger, the three items you'll keep seeing are Archangel's Staff, Lichbane and Rod of Ages, sometimes even omitting Rod of Ages and going even more aggressive. That said, parts of the community such as Kassadin mains may recognise Tank Kassadin as a semi-viable build. Kassadin's ultimate has much synergy with the high mana of tank items such as Iceborne Gauntlet and Abyssal Mask. The more mana he has, the more he empowers Riftwalk, Seraph's Embrace AP boost, and the more times he can reliably Riftwalk and restore the mana back with W. It loses out on a lot of upfront burst, but can still do fairly decent burst and DPS while shrugging off burst from enemies.
What? There's no way. No one can just deflect the Emerald Splash!
This also means that even if you find yourself stunned, you may have a chance to escape just before being completely bursted down. Now that's great, but where does this come in? Well, this is where a debate starts between two options for a Manatank Kassadin, Seraph's Embrace or Muramana. The short version is that Seraph's Embrace is better towards the late game and post level 16, but Muramana is cheaper and has the edge pre-16. If we delve into a little more detail, we can see some good stats gained from testing against a 100 armor and magic resist target dummy using this combo. Alt, Auto, W reset, Q, E, Alt, Auto. So just to get things started, we can obviously see that a full AP build with Lichbane and Deathcap does far superior damage to any tank build, but that much is obvious. You aren't proving anything when you say full AP is better, we know. Now getting into the tank builds, I did a few variations using the same combo and either 0 stacks or 4 stacks of Riftwalk, and I've put them into order. So the weakest combo is Seraph's Embrace, Abyssal Mask, Iceborne Gauntlet, Frozen Heart and Sorcerer's Shoes, dealing 1256 damage at 0 stacks and 1741 at 4 stacks. Which was a little surprising since I thought the equal item builds with Muramana would do less burst damage. Speaking of which, the next item build is Muramana, Iceborne Gauntlet, Frozen Heart, Abyssal Mask, dealing 1465 damage with 0 stacks and then 1742 damage at 4 stacks. It's only 1 more damage at 4 stacks, but the surprising part comes at how I forgot to add any boots at this stage, so it doesn't even have the plus 18 magic penetration that the previous build had, yet still comes up pretty much even. But just looking at these two for now, we see a greater reliance on Riftwalk and Riftwalk stacks on Seraph's Embrace, judging by the difference between the damage, and naturally because Muramana and high AD will have greater auto attack damage. Okay, hi, me from the future here. Just here to say that in the clip I'm about to show, which shows off Titanic Hydra, the combo goes on for long enough to get a second Iceborne proc, and this clearly isn't fair to the other Iceborne builds, so I'm removing 57.65 damage to the totals, which should be the amount of damage that an Iceborne proc does, given Kassadin's AD at level 16, base AD that is, and the 100 armor of the target dummy. Feel free to double check this, I could be wrong, I did it quite quickly because I don't want to retest everything, because I've already done that twice. So yeah, just keep that in mind and there'll be an extra little reminder at the end. Alright, back to the video. And with the next item build, we have the addition of Titanic Hydra, which as you can see allows another auto attack reset in the combo, which I use straight after the W auto reset, adding an extra proc of Muramana without needing much time at all. It deals 1893 damage with 0 stacks and 2104 with 4 stacks. Obviously there's another auto attack in there, but we'll get to that in a minute. Next up we have Muramana, the tank items, but now with Void Staff and Sorcerer's Shoes, dealing 1856 at 0 stacks and 2357 damage at 4 stacks. Naturally, it does more damage than the previous, since more gold's been put into it. And of course, above that, it's the same thing, but with Seraph's Embrace, since the AP magic damage will have far better synergy with the magic penetration items. It deals 1735 at 0 stacks, and 2393 damage at 4 stacks. That said, the damage is only 30 damage higher than the previous and is weaker with fewer stacks. As mentioned earlier, I did this exact same build again, but with an extra auto attack at the end just to be even with the Titanic Hydra build. It deals 2488 damage with 4 stacks. Getting into the second highest damage option, we have Seraph's Embrace, the penetration items, and the Manatank items, but with Titanic Hydra instead of Abyssal Helm. There's not much synergy, but it was done more, again, to test the fairness. It dealt 2539 damage, obviously down to the extra auto attack. The highest damage of the builds was Muramana, the tank items, penetration items, and Titanic Hydra, down to the extra auto attack on Hydra, giving an extra Muramana proc. It deals 2190 at 0 stacks and 2650 at 4 stacks. So, what we can gather from this is that when you build magic penetration, the best options are usually the Seraph's Embrace builds, unless you're building Titanic Hydra, in which case Muramana will actually still do more damage in a single rotation. That said, no doubt, at level 16, Seraph's Embrace will quickly start to outdamage with every additional Riftwalk used. However, all of those builds aren't really that relevant because the point of Tank Kassadin isn't to try and burst someone down and sacrifice tank items to do it. At that point, just play full AP. Instead of Sorcerer's Shoes, I'll likely buy Mercury Treads or Tabai unless the enemy team is squishy enough to warrant Sorks. I likely won't buy Void Staff unless totally necessary, and that way I can buy more tank items and take ballsier moves and ultimates. If we take those penetration builds out of the question, we can see that Muramana beats Seraphs with or without the Titanic, and even beating Seraphs while it has Sorcerer's Shoes. But of course, subsequent ultimates will tip towards Seraphs, and of course there's the issue of damage types. As if the enemy has Malphite, Rammus and Taric massing armor, maybe building Muramana on a champ with great AP ratios is a slightly, ever so slightly, suboptimal play. The topic of is Tank Kassadin better than AP Kassadin in general is for another video, but right now AP Kassadin is clearly miles ahead. But who knows? Metas change, items change, reworks happen. So who knows what the future holds. Anyway, elephant in the room. Titanic Hydra. What the fuck? Okay, so as discussed, Titanic Hydra lets you reset your auto attack a third time, thus scoring another Muramana proc, which is pretty cool. It also provides decent tank stats, as well as some AD and regeneration, which aren't exactly bad since we're planning to auto attack when building Muramana anyway. The other benefit is that it improves on Kassadin's already fantastic split pushing ability. Yes, AP Kassadin has amazing wave clear already, but ult damage aside, a handy point about Titanic and its Prevolution, Tiamat, are that they help you wave clear without using Riftwalk at all. This means you can push without stacking up the mana cost of Riftwalk. For those unaware, Riftwalk's cost doubles with every cast up to a maximum of 800 per cast. So if you get caught after ult spamming a wave, it somewhat limits your ability to escape, so if you can't kill them up front, then you're gonna have a bad time. So you either have to escape a little ahead of time, push slowly due to not ulting, or dying. If you take Tiamat or Titanic though, you can push yourself to push the lane a bit further than you normally would, and since its build naturally takes high CDR, you can likely get out of most situations with pure ultimate spam. I've managed to take towers very safely because of Titanic Hydra, and just to be clear, I don't think it's better than AP Kassadin just riftwalking. but I think the extra mobility you get by saving on Riftwalk stacks might just help sometimes. So all in all, building Muramana can sometimes be better than Seraphs on a tank build because it's early game and is cheaper, allows you to itemize defense faster for that reason as well, and mixes your damage types. Plus, it allows you to build Titanic Hydra, which enables even higher burst combos with Muramana, DPS, and Great Wave Clear, and pseudo-enhanced mobility by saving on Riftwalk stacks. That said, right now, it's obvious what the best Kassadin builds are, and this isn't being put forward for climbing elo or whatever, it's just a fun alternative. And who knows? One day the meta may change, and it'll become good or something. And a little extra context for the frick of it. When patch 5.4 came out and nerfed Kassadin's Riftwalk to be half the range, so for new players that's right, it used to be literally double that range once upon a time, everyone cried that Kassadin had died and was useless and his win rate had gone down, but that very moment I was experimenting with Muramana Tank Kassadin. First as a bit of a meme, then seriously considering it in the light of the nerfs. At that time, they buffed the mana cost on Riftwalk significantly and continue to do so over the next few patches, as if making up for the Riftwalk range nerf. This meant that me playing tankier with lots of mana, and this was before Lost Chapter and its items were introduced, they had different build paths, so your only real AP mana items were Morellonomicon and Seraphs, which only provided 1000 mana like Muramana at the time. It meant the range was still good enough since I could survive a hit or two before ulting in, and I had plenty of synergy with mana and Muramana to do plenty of damage. Over time though, since Kassadin players still weren't doing well, they added an AP ratio to Riftwalk, it used to just be mana, and then eventually buffed that up. Added the Lost Chapter items that we know today, and regular old AP Kassadin was brought back as we know him now. I'm not against playing full AP Kassadin, and do quite a bit, so I'm not totally clueless to the difference in power, but I sometimes enjoy the extra security of the tank builds, and can more confidently take fights and dive past crowd control. Anyway, that's about it for this one. I hope you've enjoyed watching if nothing else, and leave a comment with your thoughts. Good luck with your next game, and I'll see you in the next video.